here's your host, Darren Wendell.
What's up, you fish freaks? Welcome to episode number 126 of the KFO show, Kayak Fishing Obsessed, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. We are going to have a great show tonight. We're breaking down big bass behavior with Dan Morelli, Fishing with Morelli, what actually matters. But before we get there, I want to thank the sponsor of the show, Dark Horse Tackle, once again, coming in clutch with a perfect pairing coming out of their Dark Horse Tackle box. This guy right here, it's going to be a 1/2 ounce living rubber flipping jig from Mad Mouth Baits, bluegill color. And that perfect pairing is they also send you the trailer as well. That is going to be a baby Hogzilla. So, man, they are hooking me up. I'm excited for the spring. But yeah, right now I got ice on the water up here in Northeast Ohio. But I will be heading up to Steelhead Alley tomorrow morning. Hopefully run down some steelhead with my buddy Jake. But we'll get hopefully we will see some photos shortly, maybe even a video if we get on a mess of them. But big announcement tonight. We're just going to go ahead and freaking jump into this. I fired Seth. Just kidding. We didn't fire Seth, but Seth has some family obligations. He got some really great opportunities. I'll bring him back on the show to explain it. There's a timing issue right now, but unfortunately, Seth is no longer going to be the co-host of the KFO show. However, although Seth is fired, someone is hired, and I'm really excited about this. This has been in the works for a while, but the new co-host of the show, drum roll, please, Wyatt Hammond.
What's up, guys?
Dude, you're a freaking hammer. Put up 116 inches in 2.5 hours this past week.
It was wild. That was insane out there. That's
you're insane all the time. That's the problem here. So let me show you some of this. Let me show you this. So I asked him, hey, send me those photos and tell us the story, what you feel like you want to share. We'll throw up these. Where's the photo I'm looking for? Here, this is the one. Yeah. Freaking a 23.5 followed up. That's at 12:55. Followed up with a 23.5 at 1:51. Followed up with a 23.5 at 2:43. At 22.75 and another 22.75. And this was all just in a few hours.
Yep.
This is stupid.
That was mostly off of one spot out there, actually.
Gosh. I saw your photo of you out there fishing. Now, I know you can take photos in all kinds of different ways. This looks like you're in the middle of the lake, but you could be pressed up right next to a dock as well. So no one really truly knows. Are you willing to share anything about how you were able to put up 116 inches in 3 hours?
That's one of the Carolina Bay lakes that we have down here in eastern North Carolina, and it's just a giant bowl. Like there's nothing out there. I could do a 360 and you could never see anything out there. It's just a giant oval shaped lake out there. The max depth is like 9 feet deep.
Oh, wow.
And there's just brush piles with bait fish and crappie and white perch and stuff like that around them. And those monsters just hang out on those brush piles all the time, all year round out there. Like I pulled a 25 and a 25.25 out there about a year and a half ago. I mean, there's numerous 24s come out of there. We actually sat, the guy took the picture and we actually sat on that spot and probably caught 15 fish. And the smallest, we got one fish under 20 inches.
Gosh, that is crazy. Wolf Walmart has got a question here. Can we run the MC Hammer song every time Wyatt rolls? And I think he should have like a what they call a theme song every time he comes on. I love it. Roy Jones, fantastic catches. Yep. Woo, yeah. Hammer.
No, that's where I kind of do my practicing out there for any of the tournaments and stuff like that I've got going on. If I know, like I know I'm going down to Florida. I'm going out to Kissimmee year later, so I was throwing my gold stuff, my gold chatterbaits, things like that, kind of practicing for Kissimmee. So I kind of go out there and kind of take whatever lures I think I might be using and just kind of get the hang of them out there.
So is it chatterbaits, or you go to your tried and true jig down there in the brush pile?
Chatterbaits, rattle trap. I mean, I just wanted to kind of get the hang of that stuff that I think I'm going to be using down in Florida. So it's kind of that pre-practice time where I'm going out there, and that's that studying that I'm trying to do.
We all kind of hate you at the same time, love you. This is the reason, to be honest with you. I'm like, hey, why it's got to be the new co-host. One, because I need to study him for the next year. Everything that comes out of his mouth. Man, you can put up the fish, man. So I look forward to learning from you. Hopefully it's exciting for everybody else who's listening in. I'm not going to go through all your accolades. We had you on the show. If you haven't listened to that show, we had Wyatt on probably a month ago. You need to head back to that show. That is a must listen. So if you're just hopping in here and you missed that one, do a little reverse, head back about 4 or 5 episodes and listen into that. And so let me see. Johnny Bennett. Johnny Bennett said he beat my PB 5 times in 3 hours. Yeah. Fur fishing says, for me and Darren, we don't get fish that big up here in Ohio. No, like the bottom of your list, the 22.75 is like the upper echelon of how big they get up here up north. So
trying to get some people to come out there with me.
Well, I don't have to. I'm just gonna have to come down. I'm full time now. I have rods.
I know. I had Keith out there, the guy that took the picture. He was like, I kind of got mixed emotions at the end of the day. He's like, I caught 102 inches, which is awesome, but then I also got beat by 14 inches.
I love it. Roy Jones says that lake is off limits for the KBF Southeastern Regional Championships. Jake Cook's just jealous that you have open water. I hear you there, Jake. I love it. All right, folks. Wyatt's the new co-host. Let's get this party started tonight. We're going to be talking about breaking down a big bass behavior. I think Wyatt's done a really great job of kicking us off there. But let's go ahead and bring our guest on tonight, Dan Morelli with Morelli Fishing with Morelli. That's how you got your YouTube, you got your Instagram. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? I appreciate you having me.
No, it's good. It's good.
You're a hammer out there, Wyatt. Gosh,
appreciate it,
huge, man.
It's fun. I was going
down and kissing me as well. I'll be there as well. So
yeah. So we're trying to run into you out there. What kind of truck have you got? I'll keep an eye out for you.
GMC Sierra. You'll see it. You'll see the big bass symbol on the back. So
cool.
The whole town in the back. So I'll find you. I'm sure you'll be around the crowd of people.
Well, Dan, let's make you a little bit human before we start talking tackle and tactics and all that stuff. Tell us kind of who is Dan Morelli outside of fishing?
Dan Morelli. Well, number one, he's a dad. So
I see your kids' photos up behind you.
Yeah, you like
loud and proud, man.
Yep. I got 2 kids. I'm actually kind of new in the kayak tournament scene. I've been fishing my entire life. I'm actually originally from upstate New York.
Okay.
So I'm by the Great Lakes area from Rochester. I'm not far from Buffalo area. So I had the Great Lakes around me. I was able to bike there as a young guy. I had the Finger Lakes, which is amazing fishing.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up smallmouth fishing my whole life. Caught my first largemouth on a buzzbait, and that changed everything for me. I mean, it was just like the immediate addiction right there. And I was lucky enough to move to Florida later in life. And I mean, I came to like the best bass fishing around down here. And I'll tell you, I had a bass boat. I had a John boat, but I always come back to the little plastic boat. I love going out on the kayak.
You upgraded to the kayak. I get it.
I know. Everybody made fun of me. My boat would just sit in my garage or in the storage, and I would just keep going out on the kayak. And I'm finally like, listen, I think I'm just going to get rid of that and just get a better kayak and really invest my time into that.
Yeah, so I went through the progression on your Instagram. Like you see the little 10-foot Pelican, and then it goes like a feel free, and then you kind of step up to the Old Town. What was the skiff in there that I saw? That looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, I had a Live Water Sports skiff. If you guys have ever heard of that, so I'm in Tampa, so I'm right by the ocean. So my first thought was I want to get on the ocean. I got the skiff, started hitting the ocean a lot, but again, my heart is just always with the bass, just because I think just being from upstate New York, I'm not going to take a skiff out on the water here, because if you know anything about the gators out here, that's not going to happen. There's no sides on those skiffs or anything like that. I'm not taking it into the swamps. So I ended up getting rid of that and just getting that Pelican kayak, and didn't take long before I was like, all right, I'm going to need a motor, or I'm going to need some pedals, because it's getting old really quickly. I did one tournament on it, and it was just the next day I was just in bed all day. I was so sore. So I went to the Feel Free actually, and that's when I got the motor guide, put the motor guide on the front. That was great and everything, but it was a lot of pressing, and fishing. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to get something with the pedals. Yeah. I've always obviously liked Old Town. So I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to make the big boy purchase because I'm going to start getting into some tournaments. And like I said, I got 2 kids. I'm married, so very busy outside of fishing. I coach a lot of my kids' sports. I'm sure you see that too on my Instagram. So this has been the first year where I really told myself I'm going to concentrate on tournament fishing. There's a lot of great guys, especially in Bass Nation down here, that kind of talked me into it. I'm in a private league as well with some guys that are hammers, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth at tournament fishing. You did all the hard stuff, like, drop your catch board off the kayak. You got to make all those mistakes first, like before you really get into all these things. So this past year, I just really jumped into it. And as you can see from my page, I was blessed and lucky enough to win
a couple wins under your belt.
Yeah. 2 wins in the first season. So, I mean, it was big. So, and this past weekend, I just came in 11th for the second Bass Nation.
Yeah, because the one you won was out of 40 anglers, right?
41 anglers, yep.
Yeah.
That was
and
walking water, right?
Yep, walking water,
yep. I checked that out last year.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to know something funny, Wyatt? Just like you said, talking about this big bass behavior, is I caught most of my keepers, 3 of my big keepers, off of one dock, all under one dock in that tournament. So, I mean,
don't get Wyatt started about dock fishing.
Don't get me started.
It's off limits. It's off limits for this year, unfortunately, because I was looking at it.
What's off limits?
So walking water is off limits. It's Kissimmee, Toho. It's just the main. Yep, the main chain right now. This
was it not like that last year?
No, last year it was like 10 or 11, 12, like 12 lakes. I mean, it was like all kinds of stuff out there, even lakes that were kind of like quasi connected to the Kissimmee chain.
Yeah.
Like I think it was Jackson or something that's kind of connected-ish, but this year they made it just like where only the lakes that you can truly run to from Big Toho Marina down to Kissimmee.
So I remember Seth talking last year where there was like one particular area that was producing. Is that one off limits now?
I think so. I think Seth's is because
because
I think I know Lake Marion, where a bunch of the guys were, is off limits. Yeah. Jackson is off limits. So it's like Toho, Hatchineah, Cypress, Kissimmee, and I think there's one other one in there.
Tiger, I believe.
Okay, yep. Tiger. Yep.
Yeah, and there's not many docks on any of those lakes. Just an FYI to everybody who's listening right now. So get used to fishing the grass right now.
Yep.
Well, I literally remember what Seth was doing last year at this time and how he placed so high when he was down there. So hey, if you're fishing that tournament and want to get a little juice, you got to head back about a year. Seth gave it away, and he was in second in the one you were just in.
Yeah, he just came in second. Yeah, I didn't get to see him because he had to. Funny thing is, he comes in second and he left an hour early before all of us. I'm like, come on, Seth. So we didn't even get to see him at the awards because he had it out early. But yeah, he just came in second. So.
He's like, hey, if I don't get first, I'm out of here. I'm just kidding.
I know, right?
All the way back. I'm gonna drive all over the woods.
Yeah.
Here's a good question coming in. We'll head into a little bit of tactics here. Coming from Bass AF 817. Safe to say, bigger bass move in packs? ?
I actually find the opposite, if I could say.
The roamers are usually.
Yeah, I feel like they're more isolated and kind of stay.
Yeah, I mean it's heavy depending on like what they're like. If I mean like the ones I found last week, they were definitely around the school of white perch, like bigger bait. But for the most part, like you're gonna catch. At least I catch 1 or 2 big ones, and then that's it. Like they have staked out their area, and all the other fish have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Those wolf packs seem to be kind of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
So if they're around white perch, 9 feet, so you're not. Are you locating them on side scan or down scan or live?
I hit the brush piles on side scan. So I see like the structure and everything on side scan, and then I line it up with live. Like I think I watched maybe one fish eat it on live. Other than that, I'm just using to like, hey, the brush pile is that direction, so I know where to cast, as opposed to can I hitting all over the place.
Now, are they right up next to the brush pile, or the big ones usually sit like further away?
Hit and miss. Like
really, they're just kind of
a lot of times they're right up on it. The 25 I caught out there was probably like 50-60 feet away from the brush pile, just kind of hanging out. I don't know if they're just swimming kind of from one spot to the next. They just kind of, this is mine for the day, and then the next day they're a couple 100 yards over on the next one over. But yeah, and you got to be patient with it. I find when they're tucked up onto it, you got to sometimes,
and that's kind of the advantage of being on a kayak. You know, these boats you're throwing at a brush pile and you're coming back. You know, the kayak we could kind of get kitty corner to the shore in that brush pile and throw our bait at different angles. And I think that's big when it comes to the big bass, because they didn't get big by being stupid. So they're smart. So when they see things coming at different angles, I think that could sometimes trigger a bite. But I find they really get tucked up on under there, especially this time of year where it's cold down here. So
cold down here. Don't even talk to
I know,
me
right?
about
Sorry.
cold down here. Contextualize that, please.
Sorry, it was like 70 today, actually.
Oh my gosh, bro. You're killing me.
I know. You know, it's funny. I was throwing top water this weekend. Like, I'm like, man, you can't beat it down here.
I can throw nothing but top waters right now.
I think that's all you have is top water out there. You can't actually.
So they're up at Steelhead Alley up here in the Cleveland area. I'm going to go out with my buddy. Rutton Waders are going to get in the water. And we have this cam that we watch. And it'll show us whether or not there's a ton of ice on the river, on the creek, or if it's enough to actually, bobber dog some wax worms and stuff and go after some steelhead. So it's been like a little warming front that we had come in the last 48 hours. And so I think we're going to be good. But to your question, got a lot of hammers over here in the comment section actually chiming in on this to the question, do they wolf pack? And I think the overarching answer here, Chad Hoover, nope, they do not. Bart Foster says, seems like most schoolies aren't bigger than 4. I was talking to Austin Hoover once. He's like, he was live a lot. He's like, typically if you see a school and a lot of, 3, 4, 5, once they hit like 5 or 6 pounds, they have a tendency to break off from the pack.
I think Florida is one of those kind of oddballs where you have all those big fish move up to spawn.
Right.
And they'll move up into a little area as opposed to kind of just hitting the whole bank. Like you'll have this little 100-yard stretch that's just kind of
and that's right now, right? That's starting to happen right now. So there's tournaments that are coming up down now. If you go bed fishing, that's how those things are going to get won, correct? Yep. Or am I wrong? I'm not from Florida.
Yeah, no, it's coming soon. Actually, this tournament in Kissimmee, I'm wondering if it's going to be mid spawn or what's going to be happening. So it's going to be very close. So anytime now. So kind of like you just said, Wyatt, like I've caught bass in like 100-yard area or less. You know what I mean? They just seem to kind of hold there. I get past that 100 yards, all of a sudden the bite stops.
Nothing.
It's
the thing that drives me crazy about Florida is you just go out there and I fish for 10 miles and all of a sudden you hit that one little stretch of just 100 yards.
It can make your whole day. It can change everything.
I love it. We have 100 on live right now. If you have not yet done so, please hit that like button. Man, I can't talk. That like button, and we'll get this. We'll keep this party going long after this podcast is over. Mark Vayner, also a hammer from New York. Big bass will wolf pack, but only with other big bass. Right? If you're on a school of 16s, you likely won't find 20s.
Keep on rolling.
So you agreeable around the board? You guys?
I agree with that.
I love it.
I definitely agree with that.
Got it. Seth is on. Seth Taylor, what's up, fam? Got the big bass ballers on tonight. And I had someone ask earlier, Seth, since you're listening in right now, comes in from Wolf of Walmart. Seth, no, he said, are we going to have a moment of silence? Maybe some Sarah McLaughlin playing in the background, The Heart of an Angel. Maybe we do like a fundraiser for you, Seth. Send you on your way.
Take my hat off for you, Seth.
Yeah, a moment, 2 seconds of silence, and 3 or 4 seconds of silence for all the mallard ducks that he killed earlier in the year. All right, I did have a question here, and you kind of answered it, but you've gone through so many kayaks over the years. I think you landed on the Old Town PDL Pro, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
got it.
Not Pro, just Old Town PDL.
Oh, the Old Town PDL.
Yep.
Got it. What do you, do you have a bow mount on that?
I do. Yep. From One Objective.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll be honest, I've only used it once because it gets claustrophobic with the pedals on there and then the bow mount as well. It just gets hard. So I've used it once. I plan on using it again if I got to make a big run. Actually, that Kissimmee tournament, I'm probably going to throw it on one of those days, at least the first or the second day. Not sure which one. But I just find that using the Old Town just changed everything for me. I used to, like I was saying, I had the remote around my neck and I would kind of press it. I'd get a bite, I'd hook a fish, and then I'm in between, let's say, two docks or some structure. I'm trying to back out of there while fighting the fish, and I got to take my hand off the rod to press the buttons on my remote, and it was just kind of getting in the way. So now with the Old Town, I could just go in reverse. I could control it all with my feet while fighting the fish, and I'm a big structure fisherman. If I see the docks, I'm not going to just go to the end of the dock. I'm going to pick it apart. So I'm getting up in between docks, and having that movement with your legs and being able to control it has been a game changer for me. And I don't think it's an accident that I won 2 tournaments after I got into the Old Town. I won 0 without the Old Town. I got the Old Town and I got 2 wins. So I really think it helped change the way I fish, and it helps me be a little stealthier too, I think. Yeah. So I could kind of get in there.
Yeah. So you don't have to sell me on a pedal drive. My gosh, I've been running one for years. I love it. Have the PDL Pro. I've been running a Bonafide P127. I'm actually selling that right now. I got like people writing me like almost every day. Like, hey, this thing for sale? Yeah, I want to come look at it. And nothing. I said, God, Facebook Marketplace. I tell you what.
Yeah, Facebook Market. Is this available?
Yeah, it's available. I literally write in I write in it now. If you're reading this, it's available, and I won't respond to your stupid is available comment. And so people just don't read. Oh my gosh. Trevor Wagner. I love my Old Town PDL. Old Town crew represent from Diggs Outdoors. Bass Thumb AI. I love my Old Town PDL 120, but I don't love loading it into my truck. That thing is a tank.
Yeah, it's definitely a tank, but I like it. I'm going to be honest. It was between that and the XTR for me, but I knew I would need a trailer for that. Yeah. And I didn't want to do the trailer. I got the bed extender. I kind of like the easy load in and out. I kind of, and like I told you, I used to have a bass boat. I stick with kayak fishing because I like the simpleness of kayak fishing. That's why I started doing it. And another thing that you'll see is I have 0 electronics. I don't even have a depth finder. I don't even have a fish finder on my kayak. Yeah, 0. So I like to keep it as simple as possible. I think I need one soon, though. I will tell you that. But I like to keep it super, super simple.
Bro, I was looking at one of your videos before the podcast, and I looked at your deck after you pulled a fish onto it, and there was like no room. You had so much. You had Red Bull cans. You had net. You had your bow mount. You had like what in the world just happened?
That's why I don't need a trolling motor. You got so much Red Bull. You just
that's exactly
jacked up.
I got to stay active if I'm going to be kayak fishing.
I love me an energy drink in the middle of summer while fishing. There's just something about it. I don't drink them a whole lot. I lied. I had Rockstar today. I need to chill out on those a little bit.
And their life, like 4 hours into fishing, you open an energy drink. It's like a rebirth. It's so good. I love it.
What's your favorite? Let me know in the comments. What's your favorite energy drink? Wyatt, do you drink them?
I drink Monsters every now and then.
Oh, I love me a Monster.
Yep.
Wolf of Walmart hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, gotta find us a drink sponsor on here.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. I actually thought I saw another content creator have like an energy drink sponsor. I need to go find out who that was. Oh my gosh. Chad, we need an energy drink sponsor.
Yeah, we do.
I'm gonna die early. My goodness. Red Bull 20 ounce coming in here from Stark. Watermelon Red Bull. I don't think I've ever tried that. Man. Kickstart, isn't that like the Mountain Dew energy drinks?
Yeah.
Kayak Jack, cold Celsius. You got another Celsius over here. Red Bull over here from Guitar Rock. Johnny Bennetton with a Monster.
I got grief for my non-carbonated Celsius. I will drink those every now and then.
Yeah, I like the Celsius. I do.
Oh my gosh,
the Monsters are a little sugary for me. They're like straight sugar.
We're gonna love it. NOS. I love the NOS. They're usually cheaper and
the NOS good. Yeah.
You have Chad Hoover with Bang Purple Haze. I was down there with him. I made fun.
Chad,
what the world is this?
A beer, Chad.
He's like, it's super clean, clean energy. I was like, what are you talking about? I have no clue. Rain. I've heard of that one before. Water is my only energy drink. That doesn't sound much fun at all, Steven.
I'm getting to the spot before you, Steven. I know that. I'm pedaling faster.
This is crazy. Nope, just coffee for me. I'm a coffee every morning guy. I can't tell you the comment section right now. So many.
So much going on.
We got some money in the comment section. Stinky River Tom, my man, thank you so much. He says, Wendell, really appreciate the new fish finder content from the Striker 4 Up. Something for average Joes like me and the tournament guys. Yep. You know what? I appreciate that. I've been obviously iced in, snowed in. So I've been spending a crap ton of time creating just content around, you know, the Eagle, not the new, the Eagle i9, the Eagle 9, the Garmin Striker 4, the Prana Max 4, the Eagle 4 from Lowrance, the new. So it's been interesting.
I think there's more Striker 4s on kayaks than any other probably all other depth finders combined.
100%. 100%. I mean, I did a comparison video between the Humminbird Prana Max 4 and the Eagle 4X and the Garmin Striker 4. And outside of screen size, Garmin has them beat. Just beat. I mean, up and down on resolution. They got a beat on GPS, and because it has GPS and the Lowrance and the Humminbird do not, that means you have waypoints. That means you have speed, tracks, all that stuff. And so if you can give up a half inch on the diagonal screen, which most people are like, yep, willing to do, because they're all around the same price point. So you get chirp.
$20.
Yeah, you get chirp, which you don't get on the Lowrance and Humminbird. So if you haven't checked out that video, budget fish finders under $150. That just launched just a couple of weeks ago. All right, let's hop into the meat and potatoes of the show a little bit, breaking down big bass behavior. Let's just start, just picking apart on some questions here. I spent some time earlier today, and it's like, all right, let's get into the mind of Wide Ham and Dan Morelli here. So when you first launch your old towns, we all have old towns. What's the first thing you're trying to figure out? Obviously, you're trying to figure out where the fish, but what are you breaking down in your mind if you've never been on a body of water or you haven't been on it very often? Not if you go catch your pet bass on your brush piles, Wyatt. I'm just kidding.
First thing I'm breaking down is obviously structure. That all goes and depends on how you fish. I like fishing structure. It sounds like Wyatt's the same way as me, whether that's docks, fallen trees, anything like that. I like to find the structure. And then when you find the structure, you kind of get used to it. You kind of find those same travel lanes of the big bass that they like to stick to. You can find those ambush spots that they're going to be at. Like I was talking about earlier, run your bait, parallel to the brush pile instead of right at the brush pile and back. And that can trigger some big bites. So when I launch, first thing that I'm doing is I'm personally looking towards the shoreline. I'm looking towards points. If I find any points out there, any obviously drop offs and shelves like that's where the big ones are going to be. That's where they're going to be hanging out. I like to post up there. Like I said, finding those ambush spots and making sure you're casting during those feeding windows is a big thing. So I've noticed out here when I'm first launching onto the water that the bites actually not coming out till the sun comes up right now this time of year. So I don't know if you're dealing with that right now, Wyatt, but that seems to be what's happening down here. So once that sun comes up, the action really starts. That's when I can really get on those brush piles. That's when I'm really using that sun angle, wind direction. That's obviously when I launch. That's the first thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for that before I launch, obviously. I'm trying to hit those wind-blown banks. That's a big thing. Same with the current. That's another thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for which way that current's moving and some moving water, so how I can position my kayak. Those are some key things that I'm looking for as soon as I launch on a new body.
It's so funny. You just took me back. And the more and more I have the show and the more and more I have people on who know how to fish and know how to do it proficiently. I just remember when I just first got into it, none of that crossed my mind. It was like, just get in, find a bank, and just start fishing the bank all the way. All the way around.
The bank around.
Just beat the bank along with the other kayak that's 200 yards ahead of you and 200 yards ahead of them. And everyone's just fishing the same spot and doing the merry-go-round thing. But man, it's been really interesting over the past just, I guess, 2.5, almost 3 years. The podcast has been alive. And if you've been here from the beginning, and let me know in the comment section, have you been with the KFO show since the beginning? And if you have, I just know through talking with hammers, like I know how it's done now, right? It's not a secret, right? It's stringent map study for those who typically will end up always finishing in the top 5. It's an insane amount of map study, which I think it's funny because someone in the comment section said Wyatt gains his energy from map research. He spends 72 hours on maps and 24 hours doom scrolling. But it's a map study, watching videos,
100%.
looking at. So I know I asked you, what do you do when you get on the water? What do you do pre-water? Like, what are your things? You're like, okay, you're prepping for a tournament. And I'm really curious, do you utilize AI in any way?
Me?
Dan,
actually what's funny is recently I have kind of used some AI actually for the Arbuckle Walk-in Water tournament. I will say I went on ChatGPT one cool thing about that tournament, and you had 4 lakes to pick from. Mm-hmm. So all those lakes kind of offered something different. I've only fished 2 of those lakes. So 2 of the lakes I had no idea anything about. So I mean, ChatGPT is an excellent research tool that'll just gather everything around the internet. I mean, it'll pull from tournaments that people talked about that had on there and how they caught it and stuff, and pull all that information. And it definitely gave me some great information about the lake, how it fishes, some baits that might work. I will tell you that none of those ways worked in there.
Like, what were you punching?
What's the prompts? That's my next question. I'm literally like, hey, what are the prompts you're putting in there?
My prompt was, it was as simple as this. I have a kayak bass fishing tournament on December 13th and I can be on Lake Walk-in Water, Lake Arbuckle. Which one is going to be the winning lake? And it will literally tell you. It'll say, this will be the winning lake, this is why, and this is the bait that you will use. None of that worked, but I will tell you that a little bit of it worked. Let me tell you what didn't work. What didn't work was the bait that it suggested me to use. I did not use. It said a black and blue jig, and I throw jigs, but I'm not huge on the jig. Did not catch a fish on the jig that day. It said that was going to be the winning bait. I don't think anybody in the top 3 caught a fish on a jig or a keeper fish on the jig. But I will tell you, I was between Lake Arbuckle and I was between Lake Walk-in Water. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until like Thursday night I made that decision because, like we just talked about, I was living on Google Maps. I mean, that whole week I was just looking at everything on each lake. What catered to the best of the way I fish personally. That's what you got to look at. Which way do you fish? Which lake's going to be the best for you? And I did type in ChatGPT, which one, Arbuckle or Walk-in Water? Which one do I got a better chance on? And it said Walk-in Water. And I'm not going to say that's why I made my decision, but it's one of those things where I just need somebody to talk me into it real quick, and then I'll do
somebody
it.
Or a robot.
Or a robot. Yeah. So the robot talked me into it. I saw more docks at Walk-in Water, so I'm like, yeah, we're going to go with the robot.
Anybody else in the comment section, do you utilize ChatGPT in any way before you're heading out to a body of water? I'm just curious, and let me know what you prompt.
They banned drones and bass. We're going to ban ChatGPT next.
I know, right? I saw that drone thing.
Oh my gosh. Wolf of Walmart. Hey, ChatGPT, where are the ditch pickles at?
Ask it. I would love to see what it says.
I use ChatGPT and AI for a lot when it comes to content creation, but man, I have not yet. But Seth was on the show and he's like, hey, I utilize as part of all the things I go through before a tournament. And he's one of the guys that finishes. That's one of the ways, but he prompts in different ways. He's looking at like standings and where the fish were caught in the lake and all that. It's crazy.
It's really cool because once you write that prompt in at the bottom, after it gives you that information, it'll ask you things like that. It'll say, hey, do you want to know the locations where to start first? It'll even say, can I offer you a full game plan for that day? And I mean, it will give it to you. So, I mean, I think I'm not going to say it's stupid to not, but it's one of those resources where it's there for you. It's on the internet. Mm-hmm. It's free. If you want to, add something to your tool belt, I don't see why not use it. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. So, Seth? Oh, not Seth. Oh my gosh. Wyatt. I fired Seth. How about you? I don't know if I asked you this when you were on the show. Do you utilize AI in any way?
I'm not using AI. I'll say I think the closest thing is the hummingbirds, where I have Smart Strike on the hummingbirds.
All right, and explain to everybody what Smart Strike is before.
So Smart Strike on the hummingbird units, and it comes available with the map cards for the that you put in there. Is I can put in the prompts of I am fishing this lake, I'm fishing this section of the lake, I'm fishing for largemouth bass, it is summertime. It is, afternoon. It's clear skies and a little bit of wind, and the water is stained, muddy, or clear. And it will highlight on the map, like, this is a good area. This is a good area. This is a good area. But it'll highlight it it'll overlay it on the map for you. And I know a couple years ago, I punched it in on Lake Murray in the springtime, and I just went to all the little purple sections because it highlights them in purple. I went to all the little purple sections and just started catching fish at all of them. It was the craziest thing.
So is this an app, or is it just it's
integrated
with your fish finder?
It's included with the map cards when you buy the map cards for Humminbird.
But it's not connected to the internet. It's just literally what's loaded on that card.
It's on the unit. Yep.
Sorry, so it's like a database. Yeah. Wait till we get to the day in which we're not that far off when AI is actually integrated into our fish finders, and it starts aggregating all the information from every tournament, time of the year, barometric pressure, weather, whatever was caught on FishBrain earlier that week, the fish that Wyatt caught. Yeah. It is going to be like literally. I truly believe this, and we're gonna have to deal with it here in the next 2 or 3 years. Like, you can not know how to fish and come on the scene if you can pay to play and have the money. It's gonna be wild.
I mean, I think the Lowrance spot.
Take me to the ditch pickles. Well, all you have to say, and it will take you to the ditch pickles. Throw those
Lowrances and that power pole. The Vision. I think it's the Vision. It's already it's already the internet on a pretty much screen for you. It's pretty much an iPad that you hook up.
It's my goal to get a Vision this year. I'm gonna be goofing around with that because I got some plans this year. It's gonna be a little bit different. The Wendell Fishing YouTube channel is gonna look a little bit different this year, and I'm pretty.
You can stream from the Vision. Yep.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's gonna be stupid.
It's wild how times have changed, because I remember back when I was like a kid who loved fishing, the only tips you'd get for fishing was you'd have to wait for that Field and Stream magazine in the mail or go pick it up at the grocery store. And that's how you got all your bass fishing information. I mean, the internet wasn't even huge. YouTube wasn't even a thing.
Jimmy Houston Outdoors on VHS.
Yeah. Outdoor channel. You got to hope the fishing's on. Yeah. I mean, those VHSs. Yeah.
Well, if you have a question for Wyatt or Dan, go ahead and throw that in the comment section. The comment section's kind of on fire. It's hard to keep track of right now, but I'm going to switch gears to a different question. And Wyatt or Dan, you guys can choose whoever wants to take it. Are you more pattern based or instinct based?
I'm always, at least like tournament fishing, I'm always looking for a pattern. I'm looking for some kind of, like, I want some during a tournament. I want something that I can repeat. I want something that I can go. I caught a fish off this grass edge, so I see there's 10 more grass edges down there, so I can just ping through them all. Whenever I'm fun fishing, I'll go out there and sometimes just fish. Just go down the bank, just throwing whatever I want. But tournament time, it's like I'm looking. I want specific things. I need to catch fish that are this size, and whenever I do this thing, that's the size of fish that I catch.
That's interesting that you're inconsistent on that, right? Yeah. Because you know that wins for you, and you're going to catch the biggest fish. You're going to have the best luck. So why would you ever switch and go back and change your strategy to just fun fishing?
For like fun fishing,
honest question.
If it's the summertime and I want to go out and throw, like, I love throwing. I like all kinds of fishing. I like throwing a deep diving crankbait or a football jig or something. Like, if I'm catching 12-inch, 14-inch fish and I'm just fun fishing, I will sit there all day and I'll catch fish all day doing that.
All right.
If I was fishing a tournament, I would probably change it up and throw different lures and kind of grind a little bit more.
If you want to know what those lures are, go back to about a month ago and listen to Wyatt's podcast. Dan, how about you, brother? Instinct or pattern based?
Pattern based for sure. I definitely, kind of like Wyatt said, I like the bass to tell me what to do. I kind of just look to them to tell me what they're feeding on, how it was moving it when they bit. That's the number one thing, and I even tell my kids this. Anybody that's beginning fishing, really think about after you caught that first fish, when did they bite? Were you reeling in fast? Were you reeling in slow? Really know what that pattern was, and that's what they're probably going to be biting on that day. What kind of vegetation did you pull them out of? Start moving down the bank, and that lets you cancel out some water so you can find some better spots. So now that you picked up on that pattern, lets you save some time. But I always let the bass kind of tell me what they want. I'm not one where I'm going to throw, a speed worm, catch a bunch, and then be like, oh, I want to throw a big bait now just because I want to throw a big bait. No, I'm going to keep throwing what's catching me the fish, and I'm going to stick with that pattern. So definitely patterning them.
I like it.
For sure.
Got a question coming in from those listening in live. Steven Sturgeon. How do you decide which baits to take with you on any one trip?
I'll take them all. Did you see my
it?
kayak?
Yeah, I saw the deck of your kayak. I mean, everything is there.
And mine is just like just doing the research, just doing a little like. So I mean, I've got the Kissimmee stuff right now. So I've got it rigged up right now. Gold chatterbait, gold rattle trap. I'm gonna have the swimming worm tied on. I'll get the punch stuff rigged up. Like I'm doing the research before I get to the lake to kind of know where I'm gonna fish and kind of what should be the primary patterns and stuff in that area. And then I'll carry just a handful of random stuff as well, just in case I need to change it up, give me some options. And then as the days go on, I'll kind of narrow it down. Like I've got a ton of tackle in the truck.
Yeah.
I try not to bring it all out there with me, and I kind of narrow it down as the days go by. That way I've kind of, not confusing myself too much. I do the squirrel thing if I have 10,000 lures in the boat.
Yeah. Yep. Got to do what works. I kind of, it all depends on where I'm going, obviously. I mean, sometimes I bring different stuff for lakes that are 2 miles away from one lake. It just sometimes down here in Florida, they like different stuff. So definitely depends on where I'm going. Kind of like what Wyatt said, though, if I know they like something certain, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to keep exactly on the boat what works. And I'm not going to try to start throwing things just because we're all fishermen. We all like to just throw things because they're fun to throw and they're cool baits that we like.
Heck yeah.
We get caught up in that a lot sometimes, I think, and we got to remember, especially on tournament days, we got to remember, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Let's bring out what works and get the job done.
I think I fall in the line of fun fishing, right? I don't really, I'll pick up on patterns because I fish same lakes around here from time to time, but as a content creator primarily, and, secondarily, even further down the list, a tournament or 2 or 3 throughout the year. I just love rolling through baits, learning a new bait, teaching the video on that new bait, and then moving on to my next unconfidence bait, and having fun with it that way. But I don't know. I'm getting the competition itch. It won't be in 2026, but once I can figure out the new normal with making this whole YouTube and content creator thing work, I'm coming up on a year here in about 3 months. Once I feel a little bit more comfortable, and have some money to donate, I think tournaments might be something I push the gas pedal down on for summer, but we'll see what happens.
There you go. No, you're doing it right, Darren. You want to do it at the right time when you're confident, because that's what it's all about. It's all mental and confidence. And
at the end of the day, right now, I'm like, you know what? I'm just jacked that I get to get up and do this every day. If I can just continue to do that the rest of my life, it's a win. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need to win. I don't need to be Wyatt and have 1 million checks and trophies behind me.
I know.
Or Dan or anybody else, everyone else I have on the show. But man, if I can just continue to get up and do this, that'll be a life well lived.
Yeah, no, I enjoy doing that too. Just like you said, I like the point you made. And this is a good tip for a lot of fishermen. If you struggle with something, like say you struggle with the drop shot or swim baits or something, go out there one day and only bring that rod and just stick it in your hands. Build confidence. Learn how to use it. I mean, that's what I did with so many things. Like when I moved down here, the chatterbait was one of those things I just never threw up in New York. So coming down here, it's bread and butter here. And I mean, I never was catching anything, but I'm watching these guys around me just slay them. So I had to just lock it in my hand, learn how to use it. And now it's one of my favorite baits, obviously. But
I used to hate it.
Agree. Yep.
I was like, I hate the freaking chatterbait. And then you figure it out and you're like, holy crap, I love it. I love elites. I love jackhammers. Yeah. Now I just got to figure out which of my children I got to sell to buy some more.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. Oh my
gosh. Justin put up the $10 ones from Japan, straight from Japan.
Oh yeah. I had a few people write me after the show about it. And so what we're referring to, once again, go back and watch that Wyatt Hammond. But
if you want cheap jackhammers.
If you want cheap and I'm not talking like actual knockoff jackhammers, actual jackhammers for half the price, write me an email. And I'll send you a link. All right, let's keep this party going. Oh my gosh. You gotta help me out. Why I can't follow these questions over here. Have you seen a question that people have been asking that maybe I missed that you want to take a stab at?
I know a gentleman asked about the sun angles. The angles change during the position of the sun and the wind. I was absolutely. He said, "Do fishing angles change due to position of the sun and the wind?" So yes, absolutely. Fish don't have eyelids. They don't want to be in the sun for the most part, unless they're smallmouth bass, and they don't care, and they just want to be in 2 inches of water for no reason. But largemouth bass, they'll rotate around a piece of structure to kind of stay in the shade.
Yep, 100%.
Now, you were sharing why a month ago where you were following bass out in the shadow of the dock, and as the sun was coming up, they were moving out, coming
so
off.
Like during I guess overnight they were. I mean, even a little bit during the day, they were running shad up on the bank, just roaming the bank, free roaming the bank. And I think as the sun came up, they were going from the open bank to the walkways on the docks and using the walkways of the docks to get under the main part of the dock. Mm-hmm. Just kind of riding that shade line back. So they're nice. They're up there super, super shallow whenever it's dark out, and they can ambush everything. And then as that sun comes up, they kind of use that walkway, and they can still ambush while going to the darkest part of that dock.
It's usually the deepest part of the dock. That's why you got to skip. All right. Yeah. Other question for you guys. What have you found in fishing with others that anglers misunderstand most about big bass behavior? Like, what are some mistakes? You're like, I see it all the time. I wish I could go over there and coach a little bit or whatever it is, or someone maybe you fish against and they consistently finishing at the bottom 25 or whatever it is.
I think a lot of people move a little too slowly, honestly, on my side.
Okay.
Because whenever you put the bait in front of these fish, they're gonna eat it. Like, they're either going to eat it or they're not going to eat it. But I find a lot of these big fish are biting the first, cast or 2 casts, especially like whenever we're talking structure and things like that. Whenever you flip and you make that good flip under a dock or you punch a grass mat, it's usually a pretty immediate bite. Like, there's conditions where you'll get cold fronts and things that'll slow the fish down. But a lot of times those big fish, they're going to hit it as soon as you punch it through. And a lot of people will sit there and I find myself doing it punching every now and then, where I'll sit there and kind of yo-yo and yo-yo and yo-yo and yo-yo, and I'm like, I just need to drop it in there, pull it out, drop it in there, pull it out, drop it in there, pull it out, instead of trying to force the fish to bite. Like, you can really miss a lot of stuff if you don't cover water.
Yeah.
So help give some context, right? So you're at the honey hole this past week. You and your buddy are slaying. Did you just stay on them because they just kept consistently biting for 2.5 hours?
I mean,
so that's not a great.
It was usually like the first 2 or 3 casts, and they've got it. Like, it's you could go through each one, and I mean, like within the first 2 or 3 casts, you're catching a 20 plus, and you can sit there and throw a shaky head or something slow, and you can mine out a couple more fish. But the biggest one is usually end up being the first one to bite.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I agree with that, and I think patience is a big thing too. Like I said, that one tournament, I caught 2 of my biggest fish right off the same dock. And the funny thing is I hit that dock earlier in the day, and there was nothing there. Moved a couple docks down, then I came back, and that's when I pulled them both off. And one thing about structure and these big fish is, kind of like you said, Wyatt, like, if that cast, I noticed you said if that cast is right, that's a good skip, you're going to catch them. That's the key, though. If it's a good skip, don't just cast at the end of the dock and just, okay, no bite, not there, moving to the next one. I like to pick a dock apart. My favorite part of a dock, if we're talking structured docks, is like, you got a long dock and there's like that middle part, like right before it goes to the walkway that connects to their yard. It's usually a bigger, more shadowy area. And I usually will try to get up to the side of that dock and skip in there. And that's usually where I will find the bigger bass, with a little bit of patience, and getting into those harder to cast spots for sure has helped me catch the bigger bass. So
that's a beauty.
Everybody's going by.
Right. Most boats don't want to get in there, move, turn around, back it up. Kayaks, it's easy. You kind of you can move around, you can cut, you can move your vessel around faster. And so because of that, you guys see bass boats, they come up, they skip under there, nope, move on, and they stay on the outside, right? That's the beauty of being a kayak angler. You can get up there, go around it, turn around, go to the other side, flip around, you can cut the angles.
That's why I never have any problem going behind a bass boat when it comes to dock fishing. I'll go behind them and be just fine.
There's nothing better than catching a bass behind a bass boat. Just went through. Nothing better. You're like, I hope that thing jumps out of the water and makes the thrashiest sound known to man. You're hooting and hollering,
start yelling,
splashing around, screaming, just to make until it turns around and looks. You're like, okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Yep.
I do have a question. I wanted to ask this to you guys. So, I had freaking the Fluke Master on, and he was talking about in the tournament that he was fishing, and that he would, fish a dock, like 13 docks. He'd turn around, rotate, and the dock would recharge. And I've heard of this before, but in your opinion and in your studies and all the fishing both of you have done, how long does it take typically for a dock to recharge, and what does quantify and qualify recharge?
That one's dependent on for me. Like, I know whenever I fish Gunnersville, I went back through a couple of them and I didn't catch anything that day, but the next day I caught fish off of them. And I don't know if it was just, there's 10 fish under there, you catch one and they all kind of scatter and they don't come back for a couple of hours, or honestly couldn't tell you on that one.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't noticed any method to the madness? It just, you got to try it out.
I mean, except for like when it's pre-spawn and stuff, and they're actively like coming up to spawn and things. And you got kind of fish filtering in throughout the day. Yeah. I mean, I will notice every now and then if the fish bites and you feel them bite it and they run off with it. There's usually more fish under there because they're trying to take it away from other fish.
Yeah, it's when they wrap you around the dock poles.
Yep.
My gosh. All right.
And that'll kind of tell you, hey, there's more under there. Maybe I can come back a little bit later, just depending on how they bite it and how they move under there. But it's kind of random for me.
Okay, Dan, how about you? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I've kind of cycled. It was actually funny. Just my last tournament too, I kind of hit I did hit docks a lot, and I kind of I would go down the docks. I'd let it cycle about 40 minutes, and I had one dock I hit, caught a fish, went down a few docks. I would say it was 40, 45 minutes, and then I was like, well, I was catching fish down there off of that dock. Let me get back down to that dock, and I caught another one off of that dock, and then cast it back under there after I caught it, and nothing the rest of the day off of that dock. So it seemed like when I gave it some space for like 30, 40 minutes, it did kind of get activity back again. And I've had that happen at one of my local lakes that I like to take my son to, because it's just, they live under these docks. It's like so easy to catch them. And that's what we find. We'll hit a bunch of docks, and then by the time we're done, it's about an hour. We'll come back and we'll hit them again. And they kind of seem to reload under those docks. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is for that. I do believe the dirtier the fight, the more they won't be there. So if you have a fight where they're wrapping you around pillars and they're splashing under the dock, and you got your kayak half under the dock because they're pulling you, probably not going to catch one in a while. But, that's another reason I love that Old Town. As soon as I get them hooked up, I start paddling backwards, and I make that fight away from the dock as far as I can, so I can not spook anything else. So,
Wyatt, do you can pedal drive?
No, I've got the autopilot.
Got it. I remember one of your shorts came up in my feed. You're literally like inside someone's dock, pitching the inside, like you're literally in it. Like they could have opened the door and you would have been like right where their boat should have been. You guys have any like dock carrying experiences?
Never.
I haven't yet.
I haven't.
Really?
No, I have not yet. I'm waiting for it. I've like something, and if I see people like on their dock and stuff, I don't hit that dock.
Sure, I'd skip the dock, right? Yeah,
but
I don't usually fish that slow through them.
Yeah, I mean,
have you figured out in your mind what you would say? I know what I'm going to do, guaranteed.
You're going to power pole down, hit spot lock, and sit there.
No, I'm not going to say a word.
Just gonna keep fishing.
I'm just going to literally just say nothing and just stare at them as I continue to fish the dock, and I just see what happens. Right?
Make eye contact as you skip.
Make eye the whole time. Just keep on skipping and just not say anything. Everyone else says something. Like, what would you do if you're like yelling at an angler? I'm just trying to imagine. Like, I'm Karen. I'm running down. I'm fishing this dock. Blah 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 blah. And they just don't say anything.
You're catching my pet fish.
Yeah, I don't ever understand it. But I mean, the problem is they come out and they see those fishermen that make us look bad, that are skipping under there and tangling around all their stuff and then just cutting their line. So So I'm sure that's why they get frustrated a lot of time. But I have never had an issue. Yeah. Every time I get caught on there, though, I'm always like looking up there, making sure they're not watching. Try to get it off before they notice.
I mean, at the end of the day, you put your private property in my public water, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect when you? If I would have put my house in the middle of a park and a playground, well, I would imagine kids are going to be playing around my house. So I don't
exactly.
You bought the house. I don't know. Yeah. Try to be respectful if it possibly can. But if it ever happens, everyone knows there's going to be a short where I say nothing. We'll see what happens.
I think Diggs has a story on there.
What Diggs say? Do not, I repeat, do not make eye contact with the Karens.
I feel like that story.
Kayak Jack says, I have the ultimate Karen story. In fact, I even think her name was Karen. Well, that makes sense. No Karens for me over here. Steven Sturgeon said, I wonder how many of these videos are actually genuine. How many are made for clicks? I get it. I see it. I see it all the time. Like, how can the same person keep have 17 experiences with Karens and I fish just as much and have 0? I don't know.
Yeah, I've never had it.
I don't get it. Okay, we got a bunch of questions coming in from those listening in live. So let's go head over here. All right, it's back up to Utopia Outdoorsman. Yep. You guys ever use big glides for big bass during a tournament?
I do not.
No.
Tournaments are one of those things.
What do you mean you wish?
I'm throwing stuff that I catch. I mean, I'm not saying I don't catch fish on big glides, but big bites, but not a lot of big bites when you're throwing those big glides. So when it comes to a tournament, I need the numbers. So I'm throwing the things that work personally.
Yeah. So you're just basically looking for it. That wasn't supposed. I was trying to star something, and then someone commented, and I starred the thing underneath of it. Sorry. Why you said you wish? What do you mean you wish?
I wish I could get on a consistent. Like if I could go out there and I know that I'm going to get 8 to 10 bites of 19 plus inch fish. I did fish a glide bait all day in a tournament in Dale Hollow earlier this year. I threw glide bait all day every day, and I came in 16th, I think.
Okay.
But yeah. I mean that was the only time I've thrown a glide bait in a tournament because I lost some fish. I had some giant fish hit it and miss it, and it's just like it doesn't have the percentage that I would like. I mean, if I was out there crushing 2022s, then probably I keep throwing it. But
yeah, it's definitely quality over quantity. But I mean, if you're like on Lake Fork or something like that, then yeah. But the lakes I fish on around here, I don't have a ton of luck on big glides in here in Florida. So
yeah. Here's a good question coming in from Steven Sturgeon. All kinds of good questions tonight, Steven. Yeah. What constitutes a bass big enough to have different behavior than the dinks? What is there a pound? Is there a length, or what's going through your head when this question is asked?
I think like six plus.
Okay, once you get past 6, you're like, okay, they're acting a little bit different. They start roaming a little bit more,
like that 20-inch mark.
Yeah,
I feel like.
I got 4-pound 20 inches up here in Ohio. They grow long and skinny.
Yeah.
Gosh,
they need fed.
I got to show you the picture. I caught one the other day. It was 19 1/4 and 5.46.
Gosh, that's epic bass.
19 1/4. It was like you're that big around, and this one.
Wow. Terrible for kayak fishing. Okay for boat tournaments. All right, 6. There you go, Steven. Hopefully I gave you a good answer there. This one comes from CT Yak Bassin. Could you guys share any general advice to help improve skipping skills?
So the best thing that I found for skipping is reels that don't have magnetic brakes, or things that you can turn the magnetic brakes entirely off. Because you've got 2 different kind of brake systems in reels. You have the pen system and you have the magnet system, and a lot of reels will do both in there. But the pens will actually, whenever you cast, they've got little pens in there, and as the spool spins, the pens pop out to slow the spool down, and then they retract as the spool slows down. So whenever you cast, you get initial control, and then the pens back off, and the jig will actually kind of skip pretty level across the water. Whereas the magnetic brakes, they're actually pulling a little bit at the end of the cast. So at the very end of the cast, your lure is trying to rise up a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Centrifugal against.
Yep. And then turning those brakes and everything down pretty low, like not not off, but pretty low, and it's a lot of thumb control.
Yeah. Here's my general advice for skipping. Don't skip when you actually need to skip, right? Practice in open water, because this is what's going to be wildly frustrating. You try skipping docks and skipping underhangs, you're going to be hitting boats, you're not going to want to do it, right?
Look at the openings. Don't look at the hole.
Right, 100%. And so first, get good at it by just doing it in open water, right? So you're not going to just practice for 20 minutes, practice for 10 minutes every single time you're out, and then head over there. You're going to increase your confidence and going into it and putting it in those tiny spaces. I love on Gunnersville. I think I was talking about this recently, is on Gunnersville, no one likes you like fishing their docks so much so. And I don't know if it's like this where you guys fish, but they'll like create all these net systems,
grass control,
and
2x4s.
and they'll set boards, and they'll put.
They got the wood that goes across.
Wood, so you can't skip, or they have the cross diagonals, so you get. And so it's wild. But what I also love is a lot of times on those docks, you're like, oh, no one else is trying to get in there. So if I see a hole that barely would fit my bait, it's got to be that big. I'm like, okay, I'm trying, like. And I don't even care if I hit it, because you like got this thing locked down like Fort Knox. If I get it in there, there's something in there that hasn't seen a bait in a while. And so I don't know. I always considered it a challenge when someone tried to lock down their dock. How about you guys?
I caught a night, like one of the 19.5s I caught on Gunnersville was skipping through a chicken, like there's chicken wire.
Oh, the chicken wire,
wire.
Oh my gosh.
And there was a little hole like this big, and I was like, just shot it straight in there.
Those big bass know that they're protected in there. They're not stupid.
Yep.
So that's where they're at.
The beauty of that chicken wire is it rusts over time, like you're saying. And they usually put it on the doors, right? So it extend down so you don't skip under their boats. But after a while, it gets rusty holes. You're like, oh yeah, here we go.
Gosh, that's crazy that they do that over there.
Not where you're at?
No, I've never seen any chicken wire and stuff. I definitely see them put like the boards across so you can't skip under there, but no chicken wire or anything like that actively. I've seen the people try to put the signs on their dock like private property, no trespassing, no fishing. Like they have.
I've seen no fishing ones before. I was like, oh my gosh.
You know what docks I like the most? I like the docks that have like the black feeder that goes into the water. You guys ever get those?
Oh,
those are down here a lot.
Oh, really?
Feed the fish. They're catfish.
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's down here on a lot of these southern Florida lakes, and I mean, it's like catch a fish in a barrel, obviously. So.
You're laughing at Wyatt. I love Wyatt. He's like laughing at all the comments, but I'm not quite sure which comment he's laughing at.
Chris is asking where we can catch big fish in Florida.
Don't listen to him. Wherever you are, Chris, that's where.
Yeah, I'll say follow him. There you go.
Love it. All right, I got some more questions coming in from those listening in live. This one's coming from Fur Fishing. How long will you guys fish with one lure before you switch to a different one? And I'm sure it's conditional, so break down what's going on in your mind.
Definitely. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, before I switch a lure, I'm going to switch a color. So if I'm fishing a speed, say just a speed worm or some type of fluke or a Senko, I'm going to switch from, green pumpkin to a jitterbug before I go switching everything completely. I've down here in Florida, not sure about you guys, color makes a very big difference sometimes. I've, thrown a Senko under there, that's green pumpkin and nothing, and then I've thrown jitterbug and I've caught something. So I definitely think that's a huge thing. If I'm not catching it at all on that lure, I like to keep moving. I like to keep the bait going. I'm not going to waste more than a half hour on something that's not getting any bite. Then I'm going to switch it up. So,
and again, jitterbug? Do you mean June bug, or do you actually mean jitterbug?
I don't know why.
I was about to say, he's like following it up with a jitterbug. Like you go to OG. OG top water.
You can skip that thing under a dock.
Oh my gosh, this guy got some skills. Skipping jitterbug.
Old school top water right there. But yeah, I'm always trying to change the color before I change the lure. And again, when I'm going into somewhere, I kind of am doing pre-research before I get on the water. I know what they're biting. So I kind of know what to go in there for. I'm not cycling through everything. Or if it's a brand new body of water, I know nothing about it, I am going to cycle through a bunch of stuff kind of quickly and see what they bite on. And once I find that pattern, I'm going to lock it in my hand and go from there.
GPT, what color should I switch to?
Exactly.
Dan Morelli.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, tell me.
I
love it.
Yeah.
Wyatt, how about you, brother?
Like there's no definite time, but like if I feel like I should have gotten a bite, like if I go through and I skip a jig under 10 docks and don't get a bite, I'm gonna probably start thinking about something else. If I go, if there's lay downs or anything like that, and I've fished, spinnerbait past the lay downs 10 or 15 times, like there's a lay down on perfectly sitting out on a point, and no one has fished it, and I'm the first one to come up to it, and I cast 2 or 3 times, and then I go to the next one that's sitting out on a point, bring a spinnerbait by it, and nothing. Then I'm gonna start going, maybe this is, I'm gonna fish the best looking pieces of structure with the best lures that I can, and if it's not making sense, then it's not making sense, and something's got to change.
So you're on the move, right? You're probably a faster fisherman than most when it comes to just proximity and moving around, as well as keeping one bait in hand. From the couple hours I've been able to spend with you, it seems like you're a quick fisherman.
I think last year at Kissimmee, I fished like eight out of the lakes in a week.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you are on the move. So if you see Wyatt like catch something in one place, you're going to see him an hour later, like a mile down, finding that pattern in other parts of the lake. Mm-hmm. All right. I like it. I used to be someone who used to be like, oh, pick it apart and spend time on it. And I'm slowly moving away from that. And I like this being on the move. I think it's wildly just boring sitting in one spot. That's why I like bobber fishing and stuff like that. It drives me crazy. And that's why I love bass fishing. So active. All right. Got some more questions coming in from those listening in live. Coming in from Devin Lopes 561. How do you guys fish extremely stumpy areas?
So, like deep water, deep stumps, shallow stumps. I mean, points. Yes. Like you gotta find the ambush areas. Like if you've got something where it's just a ton of cover, a ton of one type of cover, then you've got to find something extra. Like looking for a channel swing, or looking for somewhere just something a little bit different. Maybe there's stumps that those stumps have lily pads or something by them. Like you need a little bit extra just to make that stand out a little bit more.
All right. Now this is wild. Like as you explain that, Wyatt, literally there's a couple places on lakes around me where it's a stumpy area. It's a fairly large area. We're talking probably 100 yards, a variety of different stump fields. So they can be anywhere. And they are. However, there's also a few lily pad fields in there. And typically if you can get around those and start picking those apart, a lot of times that is the little bit of difference that you need in order to find them that day. And so good advice. Very
definitely.
Good advice. Dan?
And trying to find the stumps by open water, I think, is sometimes key, because I know those big ones, they like to be close to be able to get right out to open water to get away, to escape. So I like hitting the edges of stump fields. I find that sometimes to hold them, because again, they don't like to go too deep. They do, but I mean, I find them mostly kind of on the edges. They want to get out into that open water as quick as possible. If you ever notice when you hook a big fish, what's the first thing they do? They usually flying towards open water. So that's kind of, I try to hit those edges. We get a lot of those stump fields here. Texas rig is my number one. Obviously, that's how I love to fish it. It's how I love to pick it apart. I love to feel my weight going over each stump and everything like that, because that's when you really feel that thump. There's nothing like going over a tree limb underwater and then feeling that thump. It's what I live for. Love it.
Favorite lure around stump fields? What are you going to? What are you reaching to? Number one, you're like, okay, I'm in a stump field. Here we go.
Shallow stuff. I like a square bill. I mean, square. Yeah.
When you say shallow,
I fish,
5-6 feet.
Yeah, like less than 5
feet.
Like I fish square bill a lot whenever we went to Potomac and things. I was running through all the stumps and all the wood cover around there. But yeah, something I can move a little bit.
Yeah.
And if I can see it, I'll throw a Texas rig or a jig to it. Deep water stuff. That's where it gets a little more like conditional shaky head, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I see a stump field and it's in 5 to 6 feet of water, guaranteed I'm pulling out a swim jig.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. 3/8 ounce. It's going to have a paddle tail, the KVD, what do they call those, the rage swimmers, and just kind of popping it. Pop.
You do
pop,
straight up and down, or
So what?
Are you running straight up and down, or you're running horizontal
For
your swim jig? Your swim jig trailer.
Oh. I don't think I understand your question.
the trailer.
I only fish it one way.
Having the legs? Do you have the legs sitting flat, or do you have them sitting?
Oh, it's a paddle tail.
Yeah.
I'm still not following you here. So maybe you know a whole lot more about fishing than I do. So I don't know. Do you know what he's talking about, Dan?
I don't. I'm
okay.
not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, your next level, Wyatt. You're like, hey, not everyone can catch 116 inches in 3 hours. Wyatt, we get it. I'm just kidding. You're gonna have to tell me about this. Also, Wyatt has this like magic jig that he creates and he makes himself, and it's my hope that someday he will share that. The great thing about Wyatt and why I love having him on the show is he'll share. If you ask him a question, he'll answer it. He's never said be like, no, I'm not going to tell you that because that's that little secret I got to keep to myself. He's like, no, you ask him, he'll tell you. So I freaking love it. Love it. All right, there's some other people in the comments knows what you're talking about. Explain what you're talking about. So
Chris knows.
All right.
I might have to go grab one.
All right, you go grab one. I'll continue to some of the questions here.
Tuesday.
Yeah, let's see this.
All right, we got Diggs over here. I've had a Karen run in, and I wasn't even fishing. A dock. She rolled up on me in a pontoon boat, screaming that she was in a bigger boat, and the water was hers. Apparently, she doesn't understand how that works.
Wow, that's kind of scary. She sounds aggressive.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Have you ever fished beaver dams? That's one of the if I see a beaver dam, that's one of the first places I'm going.
Really?
Yeah, there's some spots here in Ohio. I know where all the beaver dams are. We have a lot of them here in Ohio. And there's specifically a place in southern Ohio. There's a lot of beaver dams. And typically I'll go and there's just like hundreds and hundreds of little ponds and lakes that you can drag your kayaks to and drive down the road and throw it in another place. It's magical. It used to be strip mines back in the 80s, and now they gave it over to the state and blah, 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 blah. And you can just go in there now, and it's free camping. It's a blast. And so I'll roll up with 2 or 3 of my friends or my brother, and it's like, oh, crap. Everyone's looking at the same beaver dam from across the pond. So we're all like trying to race over there to get to the beaver dam first so we can hit it. Because usually there's an 18, 19, or 20 sitting there if you can get to it first before we go in there and lose our lures and blow out the hole.
Yeah.
All right, Wyatt.
All right.
Maybe I'll understand it once you explain it. Maybe I just didn't understand the question. Or I'll be honest with you if I had no clue what you were talking about after you explained it as well.
All right, let's see if I can get this in
there. Walk it through with everybody because people listening.
So we've got two swim jigs. Let's see if I can hold it. There we go. 2 swim jigs.
I know what you're talking about now.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. I'll run it like the one on my left, looking at you on a chatterbait.
This one?
No, the other one.
That one.
That's how I run. Like I'll run it vertical on a chatterbait, but I don't typically utilize a creature bait on a swim jig. Is that what that is?
Those are the Strike King Menace Grubs.
Okay.
Yep.
Put it back up here because I missed it. Oh, okay. All right. Now I know. I get your reason. Well, I said a paddle tail, so that's why I was confused because those aren't.
Yeah, there's really one way to do those. Yeah.
All right. I love it. All right. What else do we have here? We were talking about beaver dams. Do you guys have a ton of those where you're at, Wyatt?
On some of the rivers we do, and you catch fish off of them all the time. Yeah,
I mean
the ones around here are kind of like when there's beaver dam, you're not going around it, over it, near it. they kind of dam up the whole river, and it's
oh wow,
yeah.
Dude, what's maddening around it, there's so many of them. Those things can be like 40, 50, 60 pounds. They're massive. They're crazy. And up here, like in the mornings, if you get out really early in the morning, it's like super peaceful, almost zero sound. The planes haven't run their lanes yet. And then you hear this, boom, they slap their tail and you're like,
slapping their tail.
It's just wild how loud that is and how like unpeaceful that moment is. And then up here, usually they'll give you the warning, right? They'll slap their tail once or twice. And it's like, okay, I got the hint. But if you don't pay attention to it, they'll circle your kayak. And that's when it starts to get a little dangerous. If you don't leave after the circle, I don't know. I've never stuck around after they circled, but they do. And so I usually was like, okay, I'm out of here. But I fished rivers before where there's been. I had a buddy who was fishing the other side. He had to walk over a beaver dam, and as soon as he walked over, one slapped its tail, and one came out behind me, probably 2 feet from behind me, and just jumped in the water next to me and started swimming over toward him. I was like, bro, they're coming to protect their house. You better get moving. Mom and dad are not happy. Not happy.
Yeah.
All right. We are coming. We're gonna land this plane. I have so many questions. We're gonna have to have you on again, Dan. But it's been fun. If you have any last minute questions for Dan or for Wyatt, go ahead and throw those in the comment section. We're gonna do a rapid fire. All right. You guys ready? I got 5 questions for you. I'll kind of go back and forth. Favorite fish you've ever caught? Wyatt.
Oh, favorite fish is the 25 and a quarter that I caught out of my lake.
Is that your PB?
I went out there. No, I didn't keep it. I got pictures of it, but I went out there the week before and I lost a fish. I lost like a 24 plus, and I told my buddy, and I was like, dude, I lost a 24 out there. He's like, nah. He's like, there's no 24s out there. And I went back out there and got the 25, and I was like, yes.
He loves it more because you're able to tell your buddy you're wrong. Yeah.
Because you see the eyes roll, like, I lost a 24 plus, and they're like, yeah, okay,
sure, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, favorite fish you ever caught?
It's probably going to be recently in the tournament I just won. I caught a 22 and a half. I was a quarter inch away from big bass, and it pretty much took me from 5th place to 1st place to win that tournament. So
come on,
that's now my favorite bass ever.
Yeah, the ones that when you turn a lot of money are usually your favorite bass. I like it.
Exactly. Yep.
One thing you never leave at home, Wyatt.
Just overall everything.
Yeah, on your kayak.
Jigs. Gotta be my jigs.
Your homemade jigs.
Yes.
All right, I'm telling you,
always.
You could probably create a video on that. It would go, and 2, you could probably sell those, and it would go. I love it. Dan, how about you?
Senko. I'm not leaving the house without a wacky rig.
All right. Any particular? Are you Yamamoto?
I'm a big Yamamoto guy.
Yeah.
I really like Yamamoto, so I'll spend the $7 a bag because it just works for me.
$7. You guys are expensive down there. I found a bag up here in Ohio. I was just at Walmart this morning.
Walmart is
the 7 packs.
Yeah.
Like Walmart has the 7 packs.
Was it a 7-pack? That's
why they're cheaper.
Yeah, my gosh.
Oh, okay.
I didn't take the time to look at them and break down the price. At the end of the day, they're usually 80 cents a pop.
Yeah.
I love it. Next question. Favorite time of the year to fish? Wyatt.
Oh, I like the wintertime.
Really?
I hate cold weather, but I like wintertime fishing because all the fish are just that. There's no one else out there. Yep.
Wyatt's like today. Well, this past week for 3 hours. My favorite time of year to fish. How about you, Dan?
Spring for sure. I like fishing the spawn.
Okay.
So I like it when they get active up by the shore.
Like it. Biggest fishing pet peeve to Wyatt.
Oh, mine probably people complaining about scoping.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's kind of like
I've been.
Now it's just kind of like annoying.
Yeah, like we've been fishing long enough. Oh, did we lose them? Nope.
Yeah, he's like, forget this. I'm out of here.
Like I've been fishing through all the technology, and I've been fishing for 20 something years. Like I've gone through the side scan is evil.
It's gonna ruin fish.
You spend $1,000 on your depth finder, and it's like now this is just the next thing. Oh, we lose.
Oh, I'm back.
Lost you for a second there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. All right, I got you. You say you last thing I caught was you were fishing through.
Yeah, like
through all the electronics and.
Yeah, like I fished through not all the electronics, but I fished through side scan whenever I had the little 5-inch screen, and then I was like, man, these guys spent $2,000 on their 9-inch screen depth finder, and they're out there cheating because they can see everything, and then this is just the next thing.
Yep, next thing. Just wait till AI meets forward-facing sonar. Then you're really gonna be pissed off.
He'll be out there with the meta. You saw the guy with the meta out there in the live.
I'm telling you, I don't think that's close. But it wouldn't surprise me if down the road they're gonna have it where you can put it on you could still see like out in front of you, like you would be able to see like with your eyes. However, you're going to have all this stuff that you can also see. And I'm telling you, that's probably, I don't think that's close, but I do think it's during our lifetime. Yeah. It's going to be wild. All right. Dan, what do you think? Yep. Dan's gone. For those of you listening in, Dan left like 3 minutes ago. Not quite sure where he went. He's got technical difficulties.
Laptop died or something along those lines.
Something. So this question goes to you, Wyatt. What's one piece of advice every kayak angler should hear?
Speed up.
Speed up.
Faster. Yep.
Move it.
Yep.
All right. I've got some. Let's head over here to the question section and finish this up here. Finding fish is the hardest part. Got a bag of Senkos for $3.50 on clearance. I would have cleared it out.
Yeah.
Cleared it out.
I think that was you that put up the video where you went to Walmart and you just like cleared the whole.
Oh yeah. Oh, what were they? What was it? I've done it a couple times, and now's the time. If you want to go to Walmart, if you want to be one of those guys, you're like, oh, I found these jerk baits from 6 cents for like $2.50. Like now, it's winter. They don't offer those in the summer. It's right now. Yeah. But yeah, when you see them, typically got to buy them all. All right. Utopia Outdoorsman's got a question for you. What's the most overhyped thing in fishing currently right now? What do you think, Wyatt?
About that?
Maybe BFS stuff. I don't know.
You don't fish BFS?
No.
Never, have you ever tried it?
I had a couple of the COROS and the Zadias BFS rods for a while, and I ended up using them more for crankbaits. They made good cranking rods.
Yeah. There you go. Your brother's Brandon's in here. He's proud of you, Dan, by the way.
What's going on there, Brandon? Yeah. You guys, I lost internet for a second. Sorry about that.
No,
I don't know what happened.
It's all right. That's the beauty of having like a co-host. Like they're there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
If I was the only one, that would have been some crickets right there.
That would have been awkward. I would have just shut down the show. See you guys next week.
Right. Whole show crashed. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, right. This is called from PJ Money 14. What is your PB? We'll go length and weight.
I don't know my weight, but I know 23.5 is my PB. I did not have a scale that day.
23.5. So. You're in the mid sevens, probably.
Yeah.
Depending on average.
Yeah.
Wyatt.
Is that 25 and a quarter?
That was
that one.
How much
that was 940.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Just under 10. Come on.
I've caught a couple 24s that were 9 and a quarter, 9.5 pounds. I haven't caught it. I know years and years ago I caught one. I'm pretty sure it was 10, but I didn't have a scale on it, so I haven't caught an official put on a scale 10-pounder yet. Maybe when I come down to Kissimmee.
There you go. Yep. Don't forget the scale, like me.
I like it. What else do we have here? Oh, this is the question you missed, I think. What's the most overhyped thing in fishing currently? What do you think, Dan?
Overhyped thing in fishing recently. Man, that's kind of a hard one. I mean, I will probably just go ahead and say all the fancy new baits that everybody tries to present, each year at ICAST. There's always
this was a year of the furries.
Always something crazy that that's how they make their money. I think they're a little overrated sometimes, and they're just trying to make stuff just to make some sales sometimes. So
1,000% that's what they're doing.
Yeah, so
literally their business model.
I remember the most aggravating thing I heard was the Berkeley science guy, the Berkeley guys who design their baits, because they have the big tank where they just run a lure around in a circle and the bass bite it. And they sit there and they just design the best lure that ever works, the best lure that catches all the bass.
All the bass.
And they're sitting there we designed this awesome lure, and it ended up looking kind of like a shrimp. And they're like, the marketing guys told us that it wouldn't sell well, so we didn't actually make it. You had the best lure ever created.
You didn't make
all the fish in the tank are eating it, and they're just like, nah, that's fine. We're not gonna use that.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're like, let me use this furry dice instead. This looks
fuzzy dice. We're doing it. All right, we got Brandon over here. So Wyatt and Dan are going head to head. Yeah.
Yes, we
head
are.
To head
yes, we are.
Plus 100 some odd people.
Yeah.
Oh, is there over 100?
Oh, was it 200 last year? There was a ton of people out there.
It's going to be some thick competition. I'm
we
excited.
have in our grassroots Bass Nation here for the South
50,
region.
50
I think
to
we
70
have like
normally showing up for those things.
We got like 40, 50 on our own, and then plus everybody coming from out of state. So
this is what I want. In the top 3, I want to see, in no particular order, Seth, Wyatt, and Dan. So I want to
go. I like it.
I'll be watching.
And then we'll come on and we'll do a show right after.
We definitely will. Just all the hardware. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, folks, next week I'm actually going to be on the road. There's not a podcast next week because I'm going down the coast and doing 4 or 5 factory tours with some of the some brands that all y'all would know. And so I'm going to be going in there, seeing how the sausage is made on some of your favorite kayak fishing companies and lure companies and electronic companies. And so I'm going to come out with probably 5 videos in the next few weeks on
cool.
A little behind the scenes action. So excited about that. I was like, hey, you know what? If I can't fish, I might as well travel south. Probably going to hook up with Hoover, get some fishing in down there somewhere.
If you make your way in North Carolina towards
I'm coming through there. I know. I was talking with Faircloth. I was like, he's like, yeah, next time you come through, let me know. I was like, I don't even have enough time. Literally, this is how it works. I'm driving during the night.
Hours. That's fine.
Yeah, so I expect 116 inches. And so literally I'm driving during the night, and the next morning I shoot for maybe a few hours, and all these places are so far apart. I'm driving like 6 hours that night and then shooting the next morning, like 8 hours that night and shooting the next morning. It's literally, I was doing the math on it today. It is 40 hours of driving in like 5 or 6 days. That's just the driving part, not including the video stuff. So, it better be good or not, and it'll just be fun for me getting see how all this stuff is done behind the scenes. I always find that fascinating. So you won't see me, but I do have a variety of people slated Missile Baits in a few weeks. Who else do I have coming up here?
Is that Josh Shrenko?
Oh yeah, Shrenko from Michigan. Yep, that's right. We got him coming out. Wyatt's like, I know who these are. Darren keeps sending me calendar invites. There's another one I missed too. Anyways, well, folks, thank you so much for listening in to the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast, brought to you by Dark Horse Tackle. If you love the podcast, looking to help support it, head over there, check out. They just don't have a box, right? You can do kind of a la carte as well. Some great guys. I had a question coming in from live asking me if I was going to be at the Great Lakes Expo. I'm not. However, I will be down at the Columbus Expo here at the end of the month. So for those of you, I'll be there on Friday and Saturday. And so hopefully I'll see you there. But folks, thank you so much for listening in. I appreciate you. I'll see you in 2 weeks on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you, Dan.
Yes.
Of course. See you guys.
Thanks for having me.